as we look at with the town, you know, if we're going to extend those hours to Friday nights, well, maybe we forget about the Tuesday morning crowd or some, I'm sure there's a time where it's much, much slower than the other times. If the public outcry was for being open late on a Friday night, then great, then I think you need to adjust those hours to stay open. But the other thing is that what I'm hearing, and in general, is that you've exceeded your budget, that you've created programs, you've created hours that exceed your standing budget. And now to pose to the public that we're gonna have to cut the programs and cut personnel in order to meet those guidelines that you set, well, maybe the bar was set a little too high. I think this is gonna be a tough sell for the public. I think they're gonna have a tough time swallowing $70,000. I went back through 6 years of town budgets, and I'm telling you, $70,000 is a large chunk, even with the town budget. And I'm talking a town budget in excess of $5 million, where you have $3 million tax levy against the entire town, where we're looking at maybe there was 3 years where we exceeded those, and those were partly due to social services or welfare cost increase, healthcare cost increase, retirement cost increase, and departmental increases, be it highway department needed a new piece of equipment, or there were contractual obligations where we had raised, but we have really held tight to try and keep that budget low. And 70, again, there's not one singular department, and I'll challenge anybody to find it, and I'm gonna say even beyond my years as an administrator here, where a singular department has come and requested a more than 70% increase in their singular budget. Now, the other thing is, and Liz and I, again, it's a very complicated issue with the tax, but on the tax bill, it will read general tax, and the tax that you're looking to impose will read as under a general tax. People in January, February are not gonna go running to the public library to yell about the tax increase. They're gonna come here, and we're gonna have to answer for it. So it is dispersed. We do know it doesn't count against our tax cap, but, and Liz and I have, again, we've had the conversation. I'm trying to get, I've got word from the comptroller's office at the state to try to get the county to clarify that, where they can create a separate line so it clearly states how much your taxes go into the library budget. So it's clearly stated, just the same as the fire department and lighting.
We'd like to see.
So,
Yeah. We don't do a budget thing that we present to the public like you guys have to do every year. We have, as we mentioned, our last increase was 5 years ago, and we asked for a teeny tiny increase. And it wasn't, with everything and all the costs, and yes, we are trying to give the public what the public has asked for, and I guess, indeed, we may have to say, sorry, we can no longer do this. We were hoping that the public would do a cost ratio and see if it costs a family a $14 increase, and this is not an annual increase. It may be another 5 or 10 years before we ever ask for another increase. Maybe then it would only be 1 or 2%. Hopefully this would be a sustainable increase. So it's not like every year there's going to be asking for more. We're not going to come out with our hand out every year asking for more.
Well, in the pamphlet that you handed out to the town board, it states in there that you're looking to maybe come back every 2 to 3 years for additional funding.
And if you make more programs, then that adds to that. If you continue to put more programs on because you have more money, what's going to happen 2 years from now? I think that's another question that we have too. In 2 3 years, they're going to come back and say, "Oh, we've exceeded our programs. We need another $70,000." That's.
Yeah, I also think.
Yes, in 6 years we're looking at the future of the minimum wage possibly being raised. There's all kinds of things that we don't really know at this point. Just the whole function of libraries have changed a lot, and that, we were talking about, social aid, etc. for everyone in our area. A lot of people use our library to look for jobs for free on using our computers, using our free wireless. We actually have had job training type workshops and things like that at the library. Resume writing workshops. We're giving free college training.
Can I just jump in again? It's just as an English major, again, before I get labeled as hating books. I am a playwriting major. I had a minor in American literature. I love the English language. I love books. I love the fact that we're doing a Shakespeare festival coming up. I have a Shakespeare action figure that I'm bringing to the festival. English language I love. But you keep stating this thing about free programs and free things for that essence, the town of Shandaken provides free ambulance service. We provide free police services. We provide free Wi-Fi and internet here. But it's paid for through a tax, so it's not, essentially, it's free when the public shows up. But it's paid for through a tax. That's what you're saying, is that to provide those services, you need money, and understandably. Again, we provided Wi-Fi and internet at all of our town-owned buildings. The fire departments now do it as well. They provide Wi-Fi and cellular service where they have an extender. So these are services we're providing at those buildings. Obviously, nobody really wants to be hanging around firehouses except for Pokemon Go players lately.
What about the community center in Pine
Well,
Hill?
that's
Do
what
they
can
offer?
I speak?
Yes, yes, sorry.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
I just wanted to say that I think there's two things here. First of all, the library is an unbelievable commodity that we have in Phoenicia and also in Pine Hill, so everybody knows that. But is this morphing into a community center? Is that what we're looking at with the library? Because it seems like it's becoming a community center, not so much a library. So that's one thing to look at. And two, is this an all or nothing? Do we have a second plan?
Well, if it doesn't pass, then we will just try again another year, to your last question. Yes, I would have to say, with Phoenicia being Phoenicia, it's, as everybody knows, some people are continue to move to the area. We have long-term residents. We have a lot of businesses also, which tourism is their primary income. So we have a lot of people from out of town. So because of the fact that the library is such an inviting place, we had it designed specifically so that it would be, have more open areas to be able to have more people to have meetings in the library. We do have, it does function pretty much like a community center. I would have to say that is true. I have to say, when we rebuilt the library, we worked very hard on the fundraising, and we did get grants and things like that, and we specifically rebuilt it to try to make it be a more sustainable building. We have passive energy in the library, so we've cut our heating and cooling costs by 80%. So it's not like we're just trying to spend all this money or anything like that. I mean, we're aware of the costs, and we're trying to keep them down, and we're trying to provide free services for people. And yes, in reality, you're paying tax, but if you really sat down and did the math and saw the amount of per household that you are paying for the library, and then you wrote down, I'm a writer myself, and I wish people would go out and buy my books, but a lot of people don't have the money to buy my books, but one of my books costs $28. Okay, so that's almost twice as much as we're asking for a whole family to pay for 1 year of this increase, which is $14. So, I think if you really sat down, and it's all priorities. Some people, they don't care about things that we have at the library, so I can see why they would grumble about having to pay $14 more per household per year. But I think most people, especially with families, retirees that do like to read, that like to, get for free DVDs and things like that, you will really start adding up how much you spent on those things if you purchased them all, as compared to getting them for free at the library. You would see that, wow, this really does save money.
I just want to say, I agree with you, Rob. It sounds like a big number, and it is a pretty big number. But when you really come down to it, we've been underfunded for a very long time. $20 a year for an average household is what we're getting. We're asking for $14. Yes, it's a big percentage, 78%, whatever you said. The point is, $34 a year for a library like ours, I think it's well worth it. Whether people want to spend it or not, if they use the library or not, I think the community is for it. Most of the community uses it, and I believe that $34 a year is not a huge amount to ask for.
Well, I guess the voters are going to decide on it.
Yes.
I'd like to leave with Mr. Hansel's comment. Don't mind Bob, but again, there's going to be plenty of time. Obviously, this is going to appear on the November ballot. So there will be plenty of comments. Yes, Mr. Cal will give you one final.
All right, I want to talk about the museum for a minute here. Okay, the museum in this town is operating on a budget of about, what, $8,000 a year? Okay? They're asking for $60,000 for the library. This museum has the entire history of this town in, and it is not being maintained properly. Now, this town board over the years cut that budget by 20% one year. Okay, then you bring it back up again. Now they're talking about hiring 2 people a day to be in the library. You have 1 girl in that library on 3 days a weekend, and she has to maintain 2 floors with all of the people coming in there. So,
The town board is well aware of what we have to maintain and what we have to do, and I think I've expressed that about all our departments, that we try to keep it to bare bones as best we can and try to build on them where we can. I'll give 2 more comments, Gary, and then we'll go back to Bernie, and then I'll finish up.
I think it would help if we had something to compare apples and apples with. I think it would be helpful to the constituents in the town if we could compare the library budget with other libraries in the 28th ward. I mean, frankly, numbers get thrown around. It's very easy, but we've got about 2,800 people in the town, and you've got a $162,000 budget that you're asking for. That's about $60 for every man, woman, and child in this town. Well, divide 2,800 into 162,000.
2,800 isn't the correct number.
I'm sorry.
The households, the number of households,
Forget the number of households.
that's who pays the taxes. Second homeowners pay taxes.
Well, again, we
And
can
they're
go.
not counted in the population.
I'm only telling you that the 162,000 represents $60 for every man, woman, and child in the town. That's all.
But that's not what they're paying, because it's going by each homeowner, whether you have the wrong math there.
Well, I have the right map. And in any event, it would be very helpful to find out what the
Yes.
Skane Library budget
I can
is.
speak to that. I think we're one of the lowest funded libraries in the entire Mid-Hudson library system.
Per person.
Per person.
But if you want,
She's
that's
just
a
gonna
very
say.
good argument.
I have to counter that with Pine Hill Library at $24,000 a year.
Look, this proposition is going to be on the ballot. The library will do a campaign where we inform the public even more than what we said today, and we will see what the voters say.
But
That's
you
all I
didn't
can do.
inform us. Well, what's the money going for? Nobody could give us an exact of where the money's exactly going. The people who are gonna
They-
vote are gonna wanna know that.
We will show all of them.
We will do that. Thank you so much for letting us know your questions, and that is what our job will be, to provide all the answers. So between now and November 8th, people can see, and then they can make an informed decision.
Thank you.
And thank you for letting us have your time today. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Again, we look forward to finding more information on this. Again, it's, the public, again, Skeen Library, Pine Hill Library, these are all public buildings and publicly funded buildings. So you can certainly go and contact them and see what they have as far as funding and what they have online up and down Route 28 corridor and see, do a comparison. Welcome. Thank you, folks. With that, we will move on to committee reports. Ambulance, Chief Whalen. It's so much easier to say than lower.
My name's only that big. Good evening, Supervisor Staley, members of the town board, and residents. I'd like to start off my first official report as Chief of Shandaken Ambulance by thanking Rick for his time, dedication, and sacrifice that he has given to the Shandaken Ambulance Service over the years. My hopes are that my reports are as informative and possibly even a bit more colorful than his, and Supervisor Stanley, I promise not to mumble. I would also like to say that later in the meeting, there is a resolution that will be brought forward with my resigning as training officer for the agency and my recommendation for my replacement for this position of training officer. My recommendation has been with the Shandaken Ambulance Service for a number of years as a paramedic and has an incredible asset with his transition to my position as chief. Mike has worked in the EMS field for over 10 years and enjoys his work here in the town immensely. His longevity and teaching experience makes him a clear choice for the position. In closing, I would like to remind everyone that takes part in the many town activities and attractions that are offered to be careful in the heat. In the hot weather, also remember to drink plenty of fluids and take breaks when needed. Everyone be safe and enjoy your summer.
Thank you, sir. Police, I don't see Chief Story.
Yes, that's me
This
tonight.
is all you.
So the month of July, police, we had a total of 196 calls. Summonses issued were 36, arrests were 13, and the total miles on the patrol cars were 6,761 miles.
Thank you. Phoenicia Water, Alfred? He's scribbling his last of his notes down there.
Showing pictures to you.
Again, peanut gallery.
Yeah, that's true. I can't.
Yeah.
Just for the record, we had 2.5 inches of rain in the last 2.5 days. Rick is all depressed still, but I think it's a pretty big improvement over what was before it, which was nil for weeks. We had a 1/2 inch for a week for the last 2 weeks, but that's not much. But 2.5 is a lot. So that's good. I think we're in much better shape for the voice test. Rick can confirm that, but he'll never confirm it entirely. And that's pretty much it. The next meeting is on the 17th, 6:30 in the library.
Again, I hope by the next meeting, we should have something going out to bid for
Right.
projects. I haven't heard anything from the engineer.
Where is the meeting?
At the library. The infamous library.
Thanks.
Pine Hill Water, there's no report. Museum, Mr. Bennett.
Kathleen Myers, our director, is working on displays for our Shandaken Day, 27th of August, at the Big Indian Valley Park. A group of volunteers will begin cleaning up the abandoned cemeteries in the township this week. We're going to start in Chichester. We are working on estimates for a security system within the museum. Replacement boards for the benches outside of the entrance. A local vendor might be able to supply the boards needed. I've contacted quite a few people, and they asked me when we purchased the benches, and also I want some for the Albury Cemetery. And I said, well, before I was born, and they said, no, we can't supply the boards. So hopefully, Woodstock Supply, or Woodstock Lumber Company, or whatever.
House.
No, what's up?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
They said that they can do the boards for us, because they're rotted and need replacement very bad. I was not here at last month's meeting. The museum had 45 visitors in the month of June, and this month of July, we had 52 visitors in July. As always, requests for information on the hotels where the parents stay during the summer, as well as genealogy research is always ongoing. And I want to invite everybody here and in the town. There's a wealth of history in the Shandaken Museum, and we're open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 10 to 4. Thank you.
And it's a Pokemon Go style. It's a gym. Thank you, Richard. Recreation, Mark.
As you mentioned, we're requesting a resolution be passed so that we can move forward buying the soccer nets for Smith Park. This is being funded by O'Connor and the donation from the Pine Hill Fleshman's Rotary. And our next meeting is the schedule's a little different. It's August 16th, which is a Tuesday. It's 3 o'clock here in town.
Shandaken Day is moving right along. We still have vendor spots available. You can get the application online. If you have any questions, call Robert, call Joyce, call me. And we've had a lot of enthusiasm for the foosball, human foosball this year. So.
Yeah, I got a couple phone calls today actually about it. We may have to expand.
Expand?
We'll talk about it. I don't know, we'll see. So with that, we'll go to public comments on resolutions. Mr. Stanley.
The museum is looking to buy an outbuilding for storage, and they have an estimate of $4,000. Most people around here today are buying containers, because rather than shipping the containers back from where they came, they sell them. They are waterproof, they're sealed, much better than buying a baby barn to store stuff from the museum, and probably half the price.
You're talking about those pods, right?
No,
The shipping pod?
looks like a shipping pod.
It's a shipping pod, yeah.
You can buy them up to 40 feet long.
Yeah, so it's funny because Mr. Bennett and I had conversations concerning this early on, actually, when we first talked about a barn. And we started looking at composite sheds, and the discussion came up as to knowing it's a historical museum. Do you want this
Get an
prefab?
old pod.
This is why I stopped working with him, because he just can't win. It's like an old time. So the discussion ensued that along with this, know that there's also some other work that's going to be done outside the museum. I know Mary Lou Stapleton has been in contact with the museum as well about doing some kind of longhouse display and everything outside. So you're going to have some Native American displays and some other things surrounding the museum to have a commercial-looking pod sitting there.
Yeah, but if it's artifacts, you're not gonna be weatherproof inside of a baby barn.
It's
And you're
it's
gonna
not,
have
it's not
silver
necessarily
thick-
artifact, Bob.
What do you
We
call
have folding tables, we have folding chairs that are in the furnace room,
That's
and a collections room, and most museums, they rotate their displays.
Right.
If you came in last June and you came in this June, we'd have the same displays because we have no place to rotate the different displays. We can change them. There are people in this
Well, what I'm
town.
saying is you should go for something better than a baby barn,
Just go spend more money. What do you?
because you're gonna be storing valuable stuff in it.
No, it's not, again, it's not for artifacts, it's for the displays
No, it's an
themselves.
exhibit.
Well, yeah, but we can, the rooms that, we can get rid of the tables, we can store inside the museum. It's just the tables, the chairs, the, whatever we use for Shandaken Day or events at the museum, we can get them out of there so that we can rotate our displays.
No, that's not the storing stuff in the museum.
No.
And believe me, we priced out some of the composite sheds that look like older type buildings, and the price starts going up. Again, you start adding a little gable window with a curtain in it, and that's another $1,000 sometimes. It's ridiculous.
So I got 3 bids, well, I shouldn't say I got 3 bids, I got one from Tommy Jones, I got one from Brad's Farms down in 28. It's a special order, it's gonna cost money, to build it, to deliver it, and it's a whole 9 yards. I went to Gray's over in Grahamsville, they don't do board and batten baby ones.
What is the regular size?
I got three bids.
Public comments on resolutions, yes, Kathy.
I support the purchase of this baby barn, but in light of Mr. Cowell's comments, I think they're not a museum and they're not a nonprofit, and they should be, especially if the town is spending money on them. So it was an issue that was looked at some years ago. It was not brought to completion. It really needs to be cleaned up. And I want to speak in favor of the town board putting the resolution for the budget for the library on the ballot and let the voters decide. I think that the voters have been showing up at the library and using its resources and asking for these increases. And so I'm certainly in support of it and think that the town board, basically it's one of the basic services. I mean, you listed off some of the other ones that we supply, ambulance and fire. For me, I think the library is included in that category, and for a lot of people, it's a lifesaver. So I appreciate everybody voting to put the resolution on the ballot so we can decide as a community.
Again, we'll get to that but as far as the not-for-profit, I know Mr. Andrews on the museum board has been looking into that. It's not an easy.
We have submitted a
register.
$75 check to the New York State Department of State for 5013C.
Seaford. Yeah, so they're working towards trying to establish themselves as a not-for-profit
Yes,
organization.
we have started that.
Great, great.
Sorry I didn't tell you, but we did.
Well,
Get started.
we're all worked up tonight. What? Any other public comments on resolutions? There's no other comments. We have no motions. I will make a motion. I'm going to ask for a motion to table resolution 121 in consideration that we did not have enough information at this time to process the logging permit.
Second.
All in favor?
Yep.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, now we can move on to resolutions.
Resolution 12016, resolution to pay all bills. Whereas the Department of Audit and Control required town boards to sign and inspect all vouchers coming into the town for payment to number and total amounts from each fund. Therefore, be it resolved that the town board authorize the following vouchers paid. General, $33,495.25. Highway, $8,580.39. That's it. Phoenicia Water, $4,967.93. Pine Hill Water, $2,057.84. Phoenicia Lights, $779.87. Chichester Lights, $122.97. Pine Hill Lights, $471.63. Total of $50,475.88. And I move its adoption.
I'll second that.